So friends, let's move on towards our next topic of discussion from Clayden's book, this particular paragraph starting from here and ending here. Okay, so let us learn about this particular paragraph. In the 20th century, okay, so what is 20th century? 20th century is a period ranging from 1901 till 2000. Okay, years 1901 till 2000, starting from 1901 onwards and ending at 2000. That is 20th century. So in the 20th century, what happened? Oil overtook coal. Okay, so instead of coal, oil overtook it. Okay, so instead of coal now oil was being used. So oil overtook coal as the main source of bulk organic compounds. Okay, so oil means crude oil, petroleum. Okay, crude oil. So that overtook coal as the main source of bulk organic compounds. Before this, prior to this period means before this period, coal was being used as the main source of bulk organic compounds. But now, from this period onwards, oil came to be used as the major source of bulk organic compounds. And simple hydrocarbons. Okay, simple hydrocarbons like methane. Methane's formula is CH4, and methane is also called as natural gas. Methane is also called as natural gas. Okay, the CNG means compressed natural gas. It is methane. What is methane? CNG. We must have heard about the CNG vehicles. Okay, so what are CNG vehicles? They are methane. They are run with the help of the methane gas. CNG vehicles are the vehicles which are run with the help of methane gas. Okay, so methane gas is responsible for running CNG vehicles. So what is the full form of CNG? CNG means compressed natural gas. So methane is CH4, it is natural gas. So from oil we were able to extract methane. From oil we were able to extract methane. We were also able to extract propane and butane. We were also able to extract propane and butane from this crude oil. Okay, and the mixture of propane and butane, the formula of propane is like this. It is 3 carbon chain, meth, eth, prop. Okay, when the carbon chain is a single carbon chain, it is called methane. When it is 2 carbon chain, it is called ethane. When it is 3 carbon chain like this, it is called propane. And when it is 4 carbon chain like this, it is called butane. Okay, so this mixture of propane and butane is called as calor gas or LPG. Okay, so LPG cylinders at our homes, it is called as propane and butane. The mixture of these two things, propane and butane mixture, is called as calor gas or LPG. LPG means liquefied petroleum gas. What is LPG? LPG means liquefied petroleum gas. And what is calor gas? It is the same term. Okay, it is also called as liquefied petroleum gas, is also called as calor gas. Okay, and from oil, when these were derived, methane, propane, butane, when these three compounds were isolated from oil, from crude oil, so they became available for fuel. Okay, in the olden days coal was being used. So from coal we used to get carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Okay, from coal we majorly got hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Okay, from coal we got these things, and these were used as fuel in the olden days. Hydrogen was used as fuel and carbon monoxide was used as fuel in the olden days, before this particular period. But now, because of the invention of fractional distillation of crude oil, so from fractional distillation of crude oil we obtain methane, propane and butane, and they became available for fuel. Okay, at the same time now chemists interest grew in the following thing, that chemists began the search for new molecules. Okay, so what did the chemists do? They began the search for new molecules from new sources such as fungi. So you must be knowing that one example of fungi. Okay, one example of fungi is yeast. Okay, yeast is an example of fungi. Now this yeast, it is responsible for what? It is responsible for fermentation process. Okay, fermentation process. In fermentation process yeast is involved, and with the help of this fermentation we obtain ethanol. Okay, with the help of this fermentation we obtain ethanol. Okay, so what were the scientists doing? The scientists were now searching for new molecules from fungi, derived from fungi. So molecule derived from fungi, example is ethanol. Okay, corals. So one of the example, calcium carbonate. Okay, calcium carbonate is the example. Calcium carbonate is the example of compound derived from coral. Compound derived from coral. Calcium carbonate is a perfect example of compound derived from coral, because coral skeletons, the skeletons of coral, okay, the skeletons of corals, they are made up of calcium carbonate. Okay, so this is the thing. And bacteria, so penicillin. Okay, bacteria we can have, not penicillin, sorry, bacteria, compound derived from bacteria. So vinegar. Okay, vinegar, which is dilute acetic acid. What is vinegar? Dilute acetic acid. Okay, dilute acetic acid. Vinegar is dilute acetic acid, very dilute form of acetic acid, and the formula of acetic acid is CH3COOH. The formula of acetic acid is CH3COOH. Okay, so this particular thing is derived with the help of a bacteria. Okay, it is this particular process of making vinegar, that is CH3COOH, that is highly dilute acetic acid, and this vinegar is used in foods, in Chinese foods. Okay, so that is derived with the help of a bacteria. I am not remembering the name of that bacteria right now. Okay, I am not remembering the name of that bacteria right now, but it is a very common bacteria, and it helps us make vinegar. Okay, now, because the scientists began the search for new compounds, new molecules from fungi, corals, and bacteria. This is a particular fact. And then what happened? Two organic chemical industries developed in parallel. When did they develop in parallel? During this particular period. During this particular period, two organic chemical industries, two types of organic chemical industries developed in parallel during this period. One is bulk chemical industry and fine chemical industry. Okay, so bulk chemical industry and fine chemical industry. Okay, so two type of industries emerged: bulk and fine chemicals. Bulk chemicals like paints and plastics are usually based on simple molecules produced in multitonne quantities. Now, what are bulk chemicals? Okay, so I will give you one example of bulk chemical. Look at this particular compound. This is polystyrene. This is the structure of polystyrene. And it is a bulk. It is a type of bulk industry compound. Compound made by the bulk industry. Because it is, what is polystyrene? It is used in packaging. Polystyrene is used in packaging purpose. Used for packaging purpose. For example, packaging of furniture, packaging of glass. Okay, packaging of foodstuffs. So that is the purpose of polystyrene. Its usage is in packaging. So it is a compound derived from bulk chemical industry. Okay, so now this particular compound is simple. This particular compound has a simple structure, that this particular unit, this N represents, it will repeat many times. So this unit will be there, then this unit will again be attached here, then third unit will be there, then fourth unit will be there. So this unit is repeating. Maybe N might be anything from 1000 to 10,000. Okay, from 1000 to 10,000. So N can be anything from 1000 to 10,000. So this is the thing. Now this is a simple molecule. Okay, so and it is produced in multi-ton quantities. Okay, because for packaging purpose a lot of polystyrene will be required. Okay, so bulk chemicals like paints and plastics. Okay, plastics means polymers like polystyrene. Okay, and what are paints? Paints are also polymers. Okay, so for example, we need to paint the buildings. Okay, paint the wall of the buildings. For painting the walls, okay, for painting the walls of the buildings, paints are required, and plastics are needed, like polystyrene and other plastic. They are needed for packaging. They are needed for preserving the food. Okay, so these things are there. By making airtight containers, you can preserve the food in plastic containers. Okay, so they are usually based on simple molecules. So simple molecule example is this. This molecule doesn't have a complex structure. Okay, so and bulk chemicals are usually based on simple molecules produced in multi-ton quantities, because they are not produced in small quantities. They are produced in a huge quantity, because for painting the whole building a lot of paint will be required for painting the building. Okay, and also a lot of plastic will be required for day-to-day life activities. So these are produced in multi-ton quantities. While fine chemicals are drugs. What are fine chemicals? Fine chemicals are drugs, perfumes, flavoring materials. Okay, so one example of fine chemical is over here. This is an example of fine chemical. Okay, fine chemical. This is an example. So what is the example? Aripiprazole. Aripiprazole. The structure of aripiprazole is given here. It is a drug. Aripiprazole is a drug. Okay. It is a psychiatric medicine. Okay. It is a psychiatric medicine. It is a psychiatric medicine. Okay. So it is used to treat brain disorders. This aripiprazole is used to treat brain disorders. Now this is not a simple compound. This is a complex structure. This is a complex structure. This is not a simple structure. You can clearly see this. Okay, this is a complex structure. Okay, so this comes under fine chemical industries. This comes under fine chemical industries. Okay, so fine chemicals such as drugs like aripiprazole, perfumes also have a complex structure. They also come under fine chemicals because perfumes are also required in smaller amounts. And flavoring materials which are put in the ice cream. For example, you are eating vanilla ice cream, then vanilla flavoring material has been added. Vanilla flavoring material, when added to ice cream, it makes the ice cream taste like vanilla. Okay, so flavoring substances are also example of fine chemical industry. Okay, so flavoring, and they have a relatively complicated structure. Okay, for example, polystyrene had a simple structure because it was bulk chemical, but fine chemicals have a complicated structure, unlike polystyrene which was a simple structure. Okay, so this is the thing, and are produced in smaller quantities much more. So the profit involved in these fine chemicals, a lot of profit is there, because while manufacturing the drugs there will be some patent of the drug or something like that. So purity is very important in drugs, perfumes and flavoring substances. Purity is very much important, and as purity is important, their cost is high because the skills are needed to make this drugs, perfumes and flavoring materials. For making them, skill is needed, and when skill is needed, you have to increase the price, so profitability increases. Okay, so it is more profitable industry. Fine chemical industry is more profitable as compared to bulk chemical industry. Okay, so they are produced in smaller quantities but much more profitably. So this was all about today's lecture. We will learn about the next paragraph in the next class. Thank you very much.